So we have the world coming up. The world is all right, I will say this because especially now, especially the way that I read, especially now that I'm all about the collective, all of the messages are part of the whole. Now, I'm not asking you, I know some of you do, but I'm not asking you to watch all 12. But me as the reader, and I'm seeing the progression, all of the first 4, they either got an ace as the underlying energy, which is a beginning, or they got the magician, which is all the aces in the magician, right? You didn't get that. There's not a beginning here. I kind of feel like this is getting yourself out of a situation, Aquarius. What situation are you trying to get yourself out of? Because we've got the world coming up. And this is the final card of the major arcana, Saturn's card. And it's a victory card, but it says you have successfully completed that cycle. Good job, graduated, do a little victory dance, take your little victory lap, off you go. That's when the Fool will come in after this. Major cycle in your life has ended. So that's big. Now, a lot of people, when they see this, I've had people say to me, but I've been stuck there for 3 years. You can get stuck in it. But you know how you get stuck? It's because we keep going back. If this is, graduation day, that's what the world is. Well done. You've learned everything you needed to from that cycle. Off you go, right? Been challenging. You've gone through everything from the Fool, magician, all the way to the end again. You learned a lot from that cycle. And so with the world coming up here, when we acknowledge that, when we think, yeah, I've gotten everything out, we must prepare for change. It's one of the big cards of change. There's 5 big cards of change in the major arcana. The world is one of them. It's time for a change now. That door's closed. But what a lot of people do is they keep going back to class. You've graduated, you've got your diploma. Excuse me. But you keep going back to the same classrooms. Keep hanging out with the same people. Keep repeating the same patterns. And they're like, well, nothing's changing, Jay. And it's like, well, why do you keep going back to the same stuff, right? And so that's why I always feel like this, out of all of the change cards, isn't always accompanied by an outer change. It's a Saturnian lesson, and it says there's nothing left to learn here. You've learned maybe behavioral, looked at your behavior patterns. You've looked at, what you could get out of that role in your job, whatever it is. But it's done. It's done. Now, what did it show you? What has it shown you about yourself? And, because the Queen of Pentacles is coming up here, and I'm going to read that as you. It's general, obviously, it can go both ways. But when I get court cards as an underlying, as a general rule, it depends on the reading, I will read that as the person or the people in this case that I'm reading for. So I said this to Capricorn as well. This is about your own value now. You know your own value. You know what you're worth. You know what you're willing to give your time to. And it's so bizarre. I had a conversation with another Aquarius this morning. Hi, honey, if you're watching. But, if I had a conversation, and that's what I was saying, that, I kind of feel like I'm at a place like this myself. There've been a lot of you, especially Aquarians. I want to say thank you to you guys. Not because you've asked me for advice, not because of that. Just sending me, well, this is what's happening in my life. Just thought you'd need to know what the vibes are out there. So I know a lot of you could be going through life-changing stuff. Tower moments almost. And I talk about it in the outro, so listen to that. But here, when she sees the value in something, she's going to make it work. She is very abundant. She is able to take something that she sees value in, nurture. She's like the Empress in that sense. She will nurture it. She will grow it. She will give her time and attention to it to make the most out of it. Very abundant, very someone who's very focused on safety and security and stability. But with the world coming up with this, the victory has been that you now know your value. That's how I'm reading the Queen. I don't always read the Queen of Pentacles like that, but this time round, that's what it feels like. Now you know your value. Now that is big. Why? Because when you go through this shit, you can forget your value. If you've had friends leave you, if you've not had support there for you, if you've missed out on opportunities, if you have regret over things that you've done, where there's been loss, right? The 5 of Cups coming up. Then it's natural. Even the most confident person in the world, apart from those, there's some people that would just blame. No matter what happens, they don't put it on themselves and they're like, it's everyone else, it's not me. I'm not talking to those kinds of people. I know that. The people that are my people, you guys understand there's a bigger role in everything. But even the most spiritually minded, I guess, or the most confident of us, it's hard, right? When you've lost stuff. Why did this have to happen to me? What did I do wrong? You know, we kind of turn it on ourselves then. That's kind of one step up from turning it on everyone else. We turn it on ourselves. So this can be hard. And that's why I kind of feel like this is big. That's last week, last month, last year, you know how the past works, the foundation of the reading. But you know your value now. You know what you're able to work on. You know what you have to give. You know what you have to give. You know what your work ethic is like. You know, if this is around jobs and stuff, maybe you lost out on a job. Maybe you got the sack. Maybe you haven't had work for a while. Or you've been treated like absolute shit at work, right? No support, no whatever. Now you know your value. Relationships, it might have ended, or you got left, or whether that's friends, family, lovers, whatever. There's been grief, loss, regret. And the fives, agents of chaos. I mean, this is big. Why? Because it's cups, and we've got the Queen of Cups sat there. So you have grown in ways. There's one way left. We have her here. We have her here. And I get it. And also I want to say, when we get 3 of 1 come up, the one that's missing is significant. So who's missing? The Queen of Wands. And I know why she's missing. Sometimes it's because we already have that the ace up our sleeve, as it were. We already have that done. I don't feel like that's done here. I think the Queen of Wands is yet to come. If this was a story that we could continue, I feel like the next chapter or a few chapters in, that's where the Queen of Wands would make an appearance. But first, it's the physical stuff, right? And coins or pentacles are around our physical reality. So how much we earn, our physical bodies, our homes, our relationships even, but the physical reality of our life. A lot's changed there. That is big to get that. Now, what everything revolves around now, that might have happened a while back. That might have happened a few months ago. What we have coming up at the heart of the reading, which is what everything revolves around, right? It's the focus. It's what we're dealing with. And these, I've said this in a few of the others, because I want to make it very clear. The spread kind of confuses some people. This is past energy. This is whenever. This shows us why we're where we are. This shows us why we are where we are. And this is what we come in to this energy with, what we come into this period with. And it might be October for some of you. Some of you, this has already happened. Timelines are weird at the moment. But this is what we're focusing on, dealing with. This is a very present-based energy. Present-based energy. The present is the point of power. That's why this spread is the way it is. Queen of Cups coming up here. You're good. You're good. Emotionally, I love this. Because I think she is... The Queen of Cups she knows, she represents, she is unconditional love. Unconditional love. Now, some people get that twisted. Unconditional love does not mean you just giving, and you get nothing back. The Queen of Cups, or unconditional love, is we know the value of our love. And we understand when we love someone, that is of value to us, that you love. That you love. It's not about getting treated like a doormat or any of the other stuff. It's just that you come from a heart space. She's nurturing. She's intuitive. She's very spiritual. She's healing energy. I always see her, and the King of Cups as healers. They are that healing energy, that beautiful, nurturing, healing energy. So, I'm getting that word nurturing coming up with both of these. And maybe you've needed to lick your wounds after whatever was lost in the past. Whatever's gone. Because the thing with the 5 of Cups is, yes, there's been loss. And it's where we pause. We pause to look at our emotions. We pause to deal with that loss. And it's worthwhile. It's very easy to say with the 5 of Cups, hey, turn around. 2 cups are still standing. But every emotion serves us. Every emotion must be honored. The problem comes when we stick in this. When we stay here. When this becomes our story forever. But whatever that loss was, I feel like it maybe is coming up here and the world is there. So it may have been the flavor of the cycle you've just been through. There's almost like a death-like energy because that's change. And that is loss. So maybe things have been leaving your life or you've been missing out on opportunities, the rest of it. What it's done for you, showed you what your value is, which is amazing. If you've done this, amazing that is, because it's very easy to lose sight of your value. Right? When you do that. Now, and you also know this is what my love is worth. This is what I love. I know what my heart, how I feel. It's all about feelings coming up here. Physical reality, our feelings, heart energy. Where does that lead us? Well, we have the King of Pentacles here. Now we have the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles here. And this can go a number of ways. And this is one of the challenges of doing a general reading when we're looking at the general energies. Because if this was a personal reading, we would know if that is a partnership or whatever, depending on the situation. But for general, for some of you, excuse me, this is progression. It's progression. It's, I've been a queen, now I'm going to be a king. Not to say that the kings are better, that men are better than women. That's not what it's about. They each represent a level in our growth. They each represent a level in understanding and mastery of that energy. She's very supportive and nurturing. And I kind of guess with these two coming up, queens, both of these queens coming up, you now know what you will invest your heart in and what you will invest your time and energy into. I know that for a fact with that. Whatever you've been through has taught you that. The one is the King of Pentacles comes up. So let's deal with that first. If it's a progression, if this is an element of you progressing and moving forward, he is the master of that. He's a self-made man. You know, she earns to give to everyone else. And I was talking about this with a client actually the other day. The King of Pentacles in the vice versa tarot, if anyone that's seen that deck, it's a double-sided deck. If you look at him flipped, they show the back of the throne. He has all these like watermelons and, you know, things there, like abundance there, which he takes care of himself first. So this kind of says to me, maybe your focus has been on the outside, on how you react to things, how you deal with things. Oh, I love this. Oh, I'd like to build this. I'd like to work on this, whatever it is. But the kings, they have mastery over it. And so with the King of Pentacles, he's always going to make sure he's good first. That's the big difference between them. She's the kind of, you know, stay at home mom that makes sure her kids are like clean and well fed and home cooked meals. And, you know, she nurtures and takes care of her own. The other thing with these two is they are both very traditional and very committed. And, you know, those are not two words that I think anyone with kind of like a basic understanding of astrology would use for Aquarius. You know, we're not traditional. That's the whole point. We have Uranus as our ruler. But we also have Saturn as our ruler. So I kind of feel like, and I've talked about this before, that Aquarius are traditional. It's just our traditions are not everyone else's traditions. I'll give a stupid example. So maybe your Christmas, you celebrate, you know, a Christmas-like event is maybe Halloween, you know, and that's your thing. And you do it every year and it's the family thing and everyone gets together and, you know, that's traditional for you. And that's part of your life, that you like that kind of a tradition. But it's just that what's traditional for Aquarius is not usually seen as traditional by the rest of the world. So that's why when people say Aquarius isn't traditional, it's like, yeah, we just have our own traditions. I think I'm pretty predictable and you know, I have my ways and that's part of being a fixed sign as well as an Aquarius sun. But it's just other people don't do it that way. So they look at you like, what is that? And it's like, yeah, I always do that. You know, so they find it weird and bizarre. And that's one of the misunderstandings of Aquarius, I think, because we are ruled by Saturn and you get some Aquarians who are very Saturnian in that way, and other ones are more Uranian, so they're more, you know, rebellious and stuff. I think Aquarius is one of those signs where even two Aquarians can be very different from each other. The way they think or the way that they feel can be the same, but the way it is translated and comes out is very unique. It's very earthy energy though. So is your focus now on your physical security, stability, abundance, relationships? Now we've done that. If it's a progression, that is a progression. That's where you're going up. You're taking this even further now. What's my value? What's my earning power? What do I deserve in a relationship? Who am I going to commit to in a relationship? You know, all of these things come up. If this is someone else, a couple of things come up around that. So first of all, if it was one of these two, I mean, we're looking at partnership here. It doesn't matter masculine, feminine. If they did this, if they were, you know, they left you, they didn't support you, whether they dumped you or, you know, the relationship ended, or whether it's just a family member who turned their back on you, right? Or you regret that you weren't able to be there for someone or to give something to someone. This feels like a second chance in that, almost. Now, the reason I say that is that what traditionally, or what really leads on from the Five of Cups, the Six of Cups. Nostalgia, making peace with the past. That's why we make our peace with this loss in the Six of Cups. But this kind of feels, it almost feels that way, where someone makes amends for what happened, whether it's the same person or whether it's someone else. It's if a partnership went wrong, there's a new partnership here now. If, a friendship went wrong, and now this is someone who's they're as committed as you are. And that's the King of Wands. And I know some people don't read them as people. We don't have to. There doesn't have to be someone else. It can be in your own, it can be in your own energy, right? This is transition for your own energy, different aspects of you. I said the Queen of Wands wasn't here. Yeah, I know now why she's not here. The King of Wands is here. That's why the Eight of Swords is there. Because now, with all of this stuff, all this growth, all this grounding, all of this knowing what you're worth, all of this value that you bring to things, all of this healing, recovering from the past losses, whatever it was, knowing what your heart is, knowing how you feel, all of that stuff. Well, great. What do we do with it? We take action based on it. We take action based on whatever it is that's coming up. I want to say this to you. If this reading resonates with you, because it's going to go off in a number of different ways. There's people all over the place here. Book a personal reading. It doesn't even have to be with me. Go with any other reader. Anyone that because I'm not around anyway till after the 18th now. But I do have a sale on if someone does want to do it. Hear it in the outro. But get it, because it's big. It's when this many people are coming up, I feel like you're transitioning fast. If all of these are you're rapidly changing, going through all of this stuff. So get some help, get some advice, go to anyone that you trust, or speak to a counselor or a therapist or someone in your family, if that helps. But I know why I'm saying that is because Aquarius does best. We figure things out much better when we talk about them. We talk about them, and there's a lot going on within you right now, which you're not talking about. Remember I said at the beginning, the best advice for this is talk about it. That's the reason I say that. But okay, so we've got the King of Wands here. Spectacular, right? Another king. And now have a look. We've got all of the elements covered. We've got cups, we've got pentacles, we've got swords, and we've got wands. We've got everything covered. So they're both very successful. Both very successful. If this isn't you, if this is two people, two different kings, right? If they're you and someone else, especially if this is a romantic read for you, and you've kind of gotten over some heartache, pain, loss, there's someone around you right now that you find very attractive, and you probably won't admit this. That's probably where the Eight of Swords is coming up. But when we get the King or Queen of Wands, and they're not us, we're looking at someone and we see them as, oh my God, that's the King of Wands, or that's the Queen of Wands, right? We look at them. We find them very attractive, larger than life even. And there can be some of that, and I don't mean it in a negative way, but when you look at someone, you're like, oh my God, that person's amazing. What would they do with me? Or what, how did I get so lucky to find someone like this? It's that kind of an energy. Because they're so larger than life. That's the thing with them. They light up a room with their energy. So there can be some of that. And especially, if you've had to match this person, even in business, this could be the dynamic person, the entrepreneur who's starting up all these businesses and stuff. And it's like, oh my God, I just got grounded enough, took out a bank loan to start my bit. Do you know what I mean? We feel like we can't compete in some way against them. You can. That's maybe why this is coming up, but you can. You absolutely can. You're a perfect match. That says that. There's a perfect match. So I want to say that. But if that's the case, I don't feel like there's much happening. I will say that with the Eight of Swords there, because there isn't. That's that I can't do this and I can't do that. But so a deep understanding with all of these court cards coming up of who am I? Who have I become? How have I changed? How do I feel? What's my value? All of that stuff. But I think it's all going on internally. Remember I said these are both past energies. That's present focus. These are both present energies. So that's the present. And this is the advice that gets us to the future. Aquarius, did you forget who you were? And I like it. And not that you forgot who you were, but that you've been working on all these different angles, all these different aspects of yourself, right? work you, value that you bring, reliable you, emotional you, loving you, girlfriend, boyfriend, lover you, whatever. You've worked on all these different aspects of you. But where we're kind of getting stuck is the action that we're taking. That's what I feel, because that clarified the King of Pentacles. You know all this stuff about yourself, but what are you doing with it? What are you building with it? What are you creating with it? How are you displaying this to the world? Now, I'll talk about her in a moment, because that's you. But we have the Eight of Swords here as the advice. Remember I said, this is where I can't do anything. And this could be in a romantic situation. I can't do anything. That person's too good looking, or, they're never going to like me, or I'm just plain Jane. They don't even see me. I don't think that's the case. But hey, that's not the point here. The point is the fears and doubts that are coming up within you. Or maybe now you've done really well in a business or something, and it's about showcasing it even more. He's going to step into the spotlight and showcase it. These two will normally be happy tinkering away in the background, doing the legwork, doing, that kind of stuff. He's the one that's going to step up and say, well, this is what we can make the presentation, right? That could be for work. And it might be in your life, you might have been all work, right? No play. So the King of Wands is, let's go have some fun. Let's go do something with this. If you've been successful in some way, let's go spend that money, or let's go, we need more recognition. He's all about recognition. And that's where it's like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Right? The other thing that I will say is they have very different focuses, the King and the Pentacles people and the Wands people. These are all about long-term security, stability. That's why we look at them as they want to get married. They want to move in, build a home together. Like, they are that kind of an energy, because they're all about the long term. And the downside of that is that sometimes they won't commit to things. They're very slow to commit. Anyone who's ever tried to get like a Taurus or a Capricorn to commit before they're ready, they won't. They will take their time to commit. And the reason I'm not bringing in Virgo, not to have a go at Virgos, it's because the fixed are the kings, cardinal are the queens. For me, anyway, the way that I read. So that is Taurus and that is Capricorn, the energy. But they won't. But when they do commit, they're in all the way. That's why Aquarius can be the same way when they get in, because Taurus is our fourth house. So when we commit, we stay in. But we won't leave. We stay too long often. You've heard me say that. So they focus on the long term. This is my forever. I'm going to do this forever. I'm going to build this. It's going to be my legacy. It's going to be the home I leave to my children. This is the relationship that I want to be in. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. Not saying that he can't do that. Not saying that it won't succeed. He's a king after all. He has mastery over wands. But wands is very immediate. What am I passionate about? What do I want to create right now? What is my inspiration right now? What's my creative urges? He pursues those and he acts on them immediately, but he does it in a very confident way. He has confidence that he can make it last. He has the confidence that he can begin it, and it's going to start with flair, but he's happy to change course and stuff when his passions change. And so maybe that's what's coming in here. Maybe you're looking too far ahead and you're thinking, well, I don't know how that will go, or I don't know what's going to come out of that. Which, great that you know your value, great that you can discern the value of other things, but in the moment, the King of Wands says, well, let's figure out right now what's inspired within us right now. Don't worry about what's going to happen down the road. And that's why, with all of this amazing energy, like, we don't have pages, we don't have knights, we've got kings and queens coming up. You're at the end of something. The world says that you're at the end of something. You've graduated with honors, right? With all of this stuff coming up. And yet, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And it's that whole thing, a wise man knows that, the more you learn, or the more that you know, and I've said this myself as well, the less you know what you don't know. I don't know anything. That's how I feel. The more that I learn about the world and down my spiritual journey and my path, I figure I don't know anything. And I'm good with that. It brings it down to the moment. I kind of feel like if there's been a situation, either where you haven't said what's going on, or you haven't been able to make a decision, because I don't feel like this is happening. I don't feel like this is that pause, the break. I think it's happened. And because this is healing, right? For me, in this spread, it represents healing because of the loss here, because of the grief. And you've done a lot of the work. You know, you've changed so much to get through this. It's changed you. But what do I always say? You know, if you've been thrown off that horse, you can go and mend the bones, and you've mended your bones. That's what I kind of get here. You're good. You're back at work. You may be doing the things that you love. You're going to the gym again. Your body is strong, right? But the true healing is going to happen for you, Aquarius, when you can get back on that bloody horse. And that's what this represents. This is a temporary break. This is a temporary pause. And so for you, what does it represent in this situation? If we're not saying things, if you're like, I can't say it, I can't do it, which is basically what you're saying is, I have all this amazing stuff going on within me now. I don't know how to express it or where to put it. You know, I don't know what I love. I don't know what I'm going towards. And this says it's fear. It's fear that's stopping you. And that fear is coming out because you vetoed stuff. You know, I always find it very amazing when people say to me, oh, I don't know what I love, or I don't know what I want to do. Really? Why? Why do you not know? What other options? And, you know, there must be at least one option, anything that you could do. Anything that you could do. I could go apply for a job in the supermarket right now. You know, that kind of thing. Anything that you could do. But why don't you want to? And so if you ask yourself that question, look at any options that come up, it will go back to this because I've done that, or because that this happened then, or whatever happened then. And that's the last piece of this, because that's the victory, right? It's getting back on the horse. October's about getting back on the horse, my lovelies. And so let's talk about her. And I saved her for last for a reason, because this bitch packs a punch, and I love her before people start going crazy and thinking that I'm being horrible to her. Her and the Knight of Wands are my two favorite court cards. And the reason I love her is in her highest vibration. In her lowest vibration, she's become cynical and jaded. I'm not getting that here, especially not with the Queen of Cups sat above her. But I see her here. She's going to lead this band of merry bastards, whatever they are. But, you know, that's what it feels like. She's going to lead them because she's not afraid. She's not afraid to speak her truth. What could happen to her that hasn't already happened? She's not afraid. She's learned from her life lessons. She's learned from her experiences. She's turned it into her truth. And so, my darling Aquarians, this is where October, where we're going towards, is coming out of this Four of Swords, where this is let the dust settle. Let me take a temporary break. I need to go and heal. The final part of that healing, the final part of the lesson is to go get the diploma, go to graduation. And that means you get back on the horse, or you get back in the relationship, or you go for what you love, or you have the courage to begin the business, or whatever it is. And now if that brings up fear in you, I get it. That's the Eight of Swords. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, this is not your message. Because there's no way that whoever's going through this doesn't know they're going through it. Who hasn't felt that internal change? Who doesn't know that a curtain's come down on one part of your life, and you know, I think the curtains come down, and you think you've been backstage, but now it's time to go out on stage, to go out, to perform again.